welcome to our usual show, You and I. I'm your host, Wangari, and I hope that you're really enjoying your Easter holiday. This very time, I know that you enjoyed it in style, and it was in style because though we could not congregate and meet in our usual places, in our hearts, in our families, I hope that you've really felt what Christ brought to us, which is victory more than any other that has ever been experienced in our lives. This very moment, I want us to discuss and think about the salvation that comes along with Christ's death on the cross. And this salvation, most of the times, it's something that we don't take too seriously, because you'll find that, yes, we talk about Easter, but how many of us have taken time to reflect and think about this salvation? You know that God gave us his only son. We assume because Jesus was born like you and I, he was born of a lady who was living like you and I. And when he was born, we even know that some of those followers and Pharisees could say that this is someone we know from where he comes from and such. But God wanted it to be so that we can feel the heaviness, the weight of what he gave to us. And we can feel the cost of this salvation, because he underwent pain, he underwent all those tribulations up to the point of death because of you and I. He was a normal human being like you and I. And this is the depth of the love that God tried to show us on the cross. Have you thought about this love? It's a love that is equally poured to each and every one of us. It does not leave anyone outside. It covers all of us. But most of the times, or most are the times that we don't position ourselves in a good place to receive the graces that comes with this love. Sometimes you might feel that I'm a sinner and I'm very sinful. Maybe what I've done or the way I've been living my life, it's something unacceptable to God. But the Bible, which is our only manual and which is the only true message that we get from God, shows us and gives us scenarios whereby there were people who would be taken to be sinners, but God was merciful. There's this one sinful woman who came to Jesus and wiped his hair on Jesus' feet and kissed him. And the Pharisees would ask themselves, if this man knew how sinful this lady was, he could not allow this. But Jesus, because he had that divine power, he got to understand. Jesus could read the questions in their mind, and he really answered them, trying to show them that that sinful person is the person who should be drawn near and near, because the salvation was not for a clean person. Salvation was not for those who are already living a clean or a life without sin, but it was for the sinful so that they can be liberated and live a life that is free from sins. And so today, as we continue to ponder on what Easter brought us, the victory that the risen Christ brought to us, let us try to reflect on our sinful ways and know that this is where Jesus wanted us to begin. And our celebration would only be seen in our lives if we run away from sins and try to lead righteous lives. I know sometimes it's difficult. You'll find that sometimes even our own way of living and the only way that we live is by sins. It's by something that maybe would be deemed sinful, but we can try. And this we can only achieve if we really yearn to live a righteous life, we lead a prayerful life, and we let God take the wheel, because he loves us. The love that he shown to us on the cross is a love that shows that he can help us overcome anything that stands as a boundary between us and his goodness and his kindness. Try and make a difference this time. This already, so many things are different. We're doing things very differently, and maybe, or perhaps after this, nothing will go back to normal. And so let us even change this in our Christianity behaviors. Let's be Christians that are true Christians, not by just because you were born in Christian families, not because that our parents told us that we should go to church so that things will be well with us. No, let's also understand and go an extra mile in understanding the salvation that was brought to us on the cross. He has a good plan in store for us. So let's try and do our best as Christians. Love your neighbor, forgive as much as possible. Like this time whereby we are facing difficulties, share with your neighbors. The less fortunate, they must not be walking on the streets to know that they are needy. You know who needs you. Maybe even you can just give a call and talk to that one person who really needs a shoulder to lean on, but you can't physically see him or her. So let's be good Christians and let's keep the fire burning. I'm your host, Jenai Wangari. And before I close this episode, I want to really thank you for the overwhelming support you're giving me. Thank you so much, and I hope this message bless your heart and bring a change in your lives. God bless you. Thank you.